Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We've had some unfortunate news today with the passing of legendary actor Robert Redford. He is part of the old Hollywood where actors were actors. They weren't celebrities. They could have celebrity status, but their talent truly was at the forefront. I grew up with a lot of his films growing up as a kid. My mom loved Robert Redford movies and Decent Proposal, The Way We Were. And my dad would watch Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting. He was a big Paul Newman fan, so that's where I got my exposure of Robert Redford. And then later, when I wanted to be a filmmaker, I looked at his films like Quiz Show, River Runs Through It, Legend of Bagger Vance, Lions for Lambs. He has such an enormous filmography both behind the camera and in front of it. Younger kids may recognize him as the villain in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Played an excellent role there. He made that movie, gave it a level of gravitas. And I think he also should be remembered for his contributions to the film industry with the creation of the Sundance Film Festival. People in the film industry now owe a lot to Robert Redford with the Sundance Film Festival. Tarantino, Kevin Smith, so many other filmmakers got their start on there. Robert Rodriguez. There's so many filmmakers that got their start at Sundance, and he gave a lot back to the industry he was in. He had a very unique upbringing, and I think that brought a lot to his performances and his roles. He was part of the older actors where they didn't need to yell all the time. They could emote with emotions in their eyes. The Great Gatsby comes to mind. If you look at the remake and Leo DiCaprio yelling at the guy, Daisy's husband, all that's conveyed with Robert Redford with just a look, smile, clenched fist, and that's all. And it's just not many actors can do that. And yeah, it's just kind of sad that we lost a legend. We're losing a lot of legends this year. And Robert Redford's among one of them, but he left a filmography that will live on forever and remain eternal. And I'm glad he left us a lot of stuff. Not many people know his contributions to Sundance outside the film industry. And also, who could forget his influence on meme GIF culture with Jeremiah Johnson? Yeah, the smile with the beard, that was Robert Redford as Jeremiah Johnson. Real quick, I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I'm going to share my top 10 favorite Robert Redford films. I want you out there down in the comments below, share your favorite Robert Redford films or just favorite Robert Redford film down in the comments below. I'm not going to go too much into detail. I wrote it down because he had a lot. Who could forget A River Runs Through It? I thought for a while Brad Pitt was his son. He looks like Robert Redford. I love their performances in that film as well as Spy Game. And these won't be in a ranking order. There's going to be a list of 10 films. So it's not going to be from worst to best or favorite to most favorite. No, this is just a list. One of my favorites is an underrated film of his, The Last Castle. Robert Redford stars alongside James Gandolfini. I love this prison film. Such an awesome, underrated film. Who could forget Indecent Proposal? I know many men out there, if my wife, Demi Moore, was out, she wouldn't be with me, Woody Harrelson. She'd go off to Robert Redford. And it's pretty much crazy how he pays this guy money so he could sleep with the man's wife. That's just crazy, man. It's just a different role for Robert Redford. And going, I guess, with the 90s would be Sneakers. Very underrated computer hacker movie. Great cast. They just recently had a 4K of this. Next up would be The Sting. That was one of the Paul Newman ventures they did. They had that wonderful song you hear in ice cream trucks. Doon, 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 doon. Speaking of music, with Raindrops Fall on My Head, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is another iconic film. The chemistry between him and Paul Newman, they're just great. They're a dynamic duo, all the way to that freeze frame ending. Next up would be The Natural. Oh man, every time you think of iconic baseball scenes as far as slow motion and throwing, this movie does it with the music. This is an underrated baseball film. Then we have All the President's Men, underrated film about Woodward and Bernstein during Watergate. Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford are excellent in this film. I recommend anyone out there who's interested in film or political thrillers, check out that film. Next would be The Great Gatsby. I love the original one. He gave such a tragic performance in this. There is nuance in this version with Mia Farrow and then Robert Redford here. And then lastly, an iconic tearjerker of a romance is The Way We Were with Barbra Streisand. Such a great movie. And I guess for the top 10 spot, it's kind of hard. He has so many great roles. 3 Days of the Condor, Brubaker. There's Havana, The Horse Whisperer, which he directed, but I would probably say Captain America. I love him in that role. That's just one of my favorites for The Winter Soldier. Going with directorial films, there, like I said before, there was Quiz Show. There was River Runs Through It, but then there is also Legend of Bagger Vance. That was just great, underrated movie. And then Lions for Lambs, the whole statement on the Iraq War. Meryl Streep and Tom Cruise give great performances, and that one scene is so haunting when his kids are there. He's a professor. It's like, we're gonna go off and fight like you did. We enlisted. It's like, I didn't enlist. I was drafted. So like, it's like parallels between Vietnam and the Iraq War, really. And that was such an underrated movie from like the United Artists Tom Cruise era. And there's so many other wonderful films. The Old Man and the Gun. Yeah, they shot that in Texas. That was a cool role for his last role, The Old Man and the Gun. And then of course we have Walk in the Woods with Nick Nolte and Robert Redford. That was a script he originally wrote for him and Paul Newman before Paul Newman passed, so it would have been interesting to see that. But something gives me solace thinking that like, yeah, him and Paul, they're reunited now in the spirit realm. And yeah, at least we're blessed enough in a time to live, and a time of Robert Redford's existence and the existence of his wonderful body of work and his contributions to film. And I'm going to miss him, but we have this to keep him alive in our memories. And I think it hits harder with these legendary actors because they took up so much part of our lives and childhood, especially for like 90s kids, 80s kids, 70s kids. Like they've been around a while, so it's like multi-generational, and they've been a part of our lives and culture that when we lose them, it's like we lose a portion of that time of ourselves. Remember. And I think that's what's different about film now too, is it's just like, you have algorithms, you have committees, TikTok influencers, and it's just like people forget how actors or films made you feel. It's not just Rotten Tomato scores. Like, how did the art or the artist make you feel in that moment with the truth they're telling you? And that is something that Robert Redford brought. He brought a lot of class and truth to his body of work. And he definitely invoked a lot of emotions in people. He had that kind of charm, it factor for a Hollywood movie star. And yeah, I'm going to miss him. And I just quickly wanted to do this little video and share my top 10 without going too much into detail. Share your favorite Robert Redford films down in the comments below, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. And yeah, the people who are in your life right now, tell them that you love them while they're still here. Seriously, time just goes by so fast. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Till next time, we have a Batman Day video coming up Saturday, and we'll see. But until then, share your favorite Robert Redford films.